Howdy folks, Henry here, going to show you how to add text to the sterns of your Age of Sail warships. This is something I know I've been asked about a couple of times, but never really followed through with explaining because I didn't think it was worth doing myself, but I don't know, maybe it could work, maybe I was wrong, since it seems like, you've got a bit of space to work with. Anyway, in front of us here we have HMS Victory from my latest Kickstarter, and I'm going to show you how to add text to the stern here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to press Shift plus A, and I'm going to click text, right? And that will add in some text under the ship here. Gonna scale it up, press S for scale, and drag my mouse out just to make it a bit bigger. I'm going to press R for rotate, and then I'm going to press the X button right afterwards, X key, sorry. And you'll see a red line has appeared on the screen. That means that I've locked my rotation to the X axis. And I'm going to hold the control key and move it up 90 degrees there. If you press the N key, if this window isn't showing already, that makes the transform window appear up here. And I can see rotation there. Minus 270, that is 90 degrees, basically. Okay, now I'm going to press something. I can't remember on default Blender what this key combination is. I think it's something on the numpad. I think it might be number 2 on the numpad. But I'm going to go to this front orthographic view, which has me getting a flat view on the ship. I will have to put in the video description what the key is if you're on your default Blender. I'm using a laptop, so I had to set up my own key combination for that. Sorry. Anyway, looking at the stern now, I can press the G key and move my mouse around to move the selected text. And I'm going to press S again and scale it to fit the gap we've got to work with. Although, you know what? I'm getting ahead of myself. Before I do that, I should change the font because this isn't really a very Age of Sail looking font. If you click the A down here on the right when you've got text selected, that lets you change aspects of the text. You'll see there's a font button here. If I click that, that expands it. Now I'm going to change the bold font to Trajanus. Now, I will see if I can find it again. I'll have to put a link again in the video description. But Trajanus is not a font that comes with Blender. It's a third-party one that you have to install. Yonks ago, I downloaded it. I can't remember where I got it from. But, I mean, worst case scenario, maybe I can have a link to my Dropbox copy of it. Right, so Trajanus, Roman font. This is on my Dropbox. I downloaded it there. That's the font. I select it, click Open Font. And now if I type Victory in all capital letters and press Control A and B, made it bold, it's changed the font. By the way, sorry, to change the text, you just select it, you press the Tab key, and you type like on any other word processor. If you press Control B, you'll switch to bold, which is what we've done. I just want it to be as thick as possible. So it now says Victory. The next thing is, if we were to print this now, first of all, our text is flat, and the text isn't a mesh. It's not actually a 3D object, so we have to convert it. To convert the text into a 3D object, we click Object, Convert, and then click Mesh. Note that after you click this, you're not going to be able to change what the text says, so make sure you're happy with how the text looks first. Okay, that's a mesh now, and if I press the Tab key, it's now like a normal 3D object with vertices and things. Right, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to press Tab, go into Edit Mode, press A to select everything, and up here under Transform, going to click the Global tab, and above here we've got like the coordinates of everything within the global 3D space. On the x-axis, it's got a slightly positive set of coordinates there, 0.38 millimeters. That means that the whole text, like the center point of all that text together, is offset to the right by 0.38 millimeters. That's not much, but just to be, OCD, we're going to change this to 0. That budges the text so it's fully centered. And now the text here is straight, but we want it to sit with the within the stern space. So I'm going to reduce it. Let's just set origin to surface. I'm going to scale it down so that the text fits in the gap like this. And then, pressing tab, going to click into empty space just to deselect these vertices. If I mouse over a letter and press the L key, L, I will select all linked vertices. Press G for grab and Z to lock it to the Z axis. Just going to move these letters up so that they somewhat uniformly fit in the gap. That R could actually be a bit higher, couldn't it? L key, grab up like so. L key, grab, G, up, and L key, grab, up. Make sure that's still in the middle. And yeah, the Y could be a little higher too. You're just trying to get it so it all fits in this space. Right, something I'm not going to bother doing, but I will show you how to do it just in case, is some of these letters have thin parts. If you zoom in, I'm using my mouse wheel, click a part of a letter, then hold Alt and Shift, and click another part. Sometimes it doesn't work. I'm holding Shift and clicking a few. You select like all of the vertices on a given loop. And if I press the S key for scale, I can make the letter thicker if I want it to be a bit more printable. Actually, maybe I will do this. Press S key, scale it down, just to make sure it's not too thin. The problem is actually this could get very involved, so maybe it's worth seeing if it prints first, because like for example this Y, I'm holding the Control key and clicking along to select along the line. S key, X, you'd have to get like quite involved. I don't know. Hopefully this gives you the idea if you feel it's worth it. I've said how I did it. Again, that was Alt and Shift. Well, Shift, click, Shift, click, Shift, click, Alt, Shift, click. And then here, I was just holding the Control key and clicking down like that. And you can use the scale settings on different axes like that if you want to thicken the letters, but you know, maybe do a test print first. Let's get back to what I'm supposed to be teaching you. Sorry, this is a bit of a rambler. This text now is ready to be put on the ship, but we want it to be flush with the gallery. So I'm going to click this blue wrench down here. That's the modifiers menu. Click Add Modifier. We're going to use one called Shrinkwrap. Shrinkwrap. Okay. Under Wrap Method, we're going to click Project. And then we click on the model. And that, when I press G and Y, move the text back, that will lock the text onto the model. So it is exactly flat and flush with it. It might get a bit distorted. Again, you can still resize things. What I'm doing here is I've just pressed tab to go into edit mode. If I hold the Z key, move the view to wireframe, I can still select and see bits. But I'm worried I'm getting a little bit too involved now. Let's just teach you what you come here to do. Sorry. Click on the shrink wrap modifier, this little arrow that's pointing down. Click apply, or you can press Control A when you're mousing over it. Press tab. Press A to select all. And then if I press G for grab and move on the Y axis with the Y key, I can move this backward and forward. I'm going to move this just a little bit back in the model to make sure it's there. Then I'm going to press the E key for extrude and Y to lock it on the Y axis. And here I can extrude the text out. Actually, about that. Yeah, that looks good. And there we go. Going to just select it one more time, press tab A, make sure it's centralized. It is. That is exactly in the middle, apparently. It looks a little funny to me, but apparently... Just checking. Let's check if the ship's in the middle. Why did it look a little off? Oh, the ship's not quite in the middle. They did make a difference. Okay, that is in the middle. My eyes are just deceiving me. Yeah. And now you would be ready to export this as a new STL. To do that, click the ship, or anything really, press A to select all. File, Export, STL, I'm going to do it to my desktop. Click Selection Only, this is important in a lot of files. And then just export STL. I'll call it Victory with Text. You would then need to run the model through 3D Builder. I have tutorials on that elsewhere on my YouTube channel, so I'm not going to waste time on it here. But you need to repair this file before you print it. Maybe it'll print without you repairing, but it's just good practice just to repair everything you export, to be honest. And there you have it. I hope that's helpful. I will do it one more time without narrating, just to show that it is quite slow. I'm going to call this HMS Cheesecake now. Actually, maybe that's too many letters. I don't know. Oh, hell, let's try it. Cheesecake. Oh. Capital letters and bold, of course. Cheesecake. Yeah. Changing the font now to Trajanus. Trajanus down here. Cheesecake, yep. Object, set origin, surface. Put it in the middle on the x-axis, 0. Then object, convert to mesh. Scale it so it's the right size. Tab key, L to select a letter, moving it down so it's in the middle. Moving it down so it's in the middle. Oh. Control Z is undo, guys, like on a lot of programs. Cheese. Here's another one. If you hold Shift and press L, you unselect all linked paths. So hold Shift L. Shift L. Shift L. Add the Shrinkwrap modifier. Project. Click. Tab A G Y. Extrude E key out. The bottom of this letter E is a little bit out. It just means that I messed up the shrink wrapping a bit. But that's good enough for demonstrations. Oh. There we go, HMS Cheesecake. My new flagship. And then I would click A to select all, file, export, STL, Invincible HMS Cheesecake Supreme Ship of the World-Faring Fleet.stl. There you go. Woo! And there you have it, guys. Hope that was useful for you. If you have any questions, just let me know. I will, again, in the video description, try find a link to the Trajanus font. If not, I'll just link directly to my personal Dropbox where I've got it there. And I will see if I can find out what the default key binding in Blender is for the orthographic views. I think it's the buttons on your numpad. So there's front, right, back, left, down, up. Yeah, they're very useful for doing precise work in Blender. Anyway, thank you for your time, and I hope to see some amusing ship names. Cheerio.